What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the Mercedes-Benz G550 4x4 squared. Another beautiful vehicle from my friends over at Monza Exotics. If you're in Southern California looking to rent any luxury or exotic car, go hit them up and they will take care of you. They have a beautiful fleet of exotics that they're constantly adding to. Now jumping right into the video, the Mercedes-Benz G550 4x4 squared is powered by a 4-liter V8 Biturbo producing 416 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, putting that power to all four wheels via a 7-speed automatic transmission. This monster weighs in at 6,825 pounds, making it over 3 tons. It'll get you from 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds, putting it just 0.4 seconds behind the standard G550 with the same powertrain, which is pretty impressive given that the 4x4 squared is 753 pounds heavier. Standing at 7 feet 4 inches, the 4x4 squared is nearly a foot taller than a regular G550, as well as 82.7 inches wide, making it a foot wider than the standard G-Class as well. And for additional perspective, it's also wider than a Ford Raptor. The 4x4 squared comes from the factory with 36.1 inch tall Pirelli Scorpion ATRs and 22-inch wheels, as well as portal axles, giving this wagon a whopping 17.2 inches of ground clearance. That is double the ground clearance of a Raptor. The portal axles, which use in-hub gears to locate the wheel centers below the axle's drive shafts, combined with the massive wheels, deliver 7.9 more inches of clearance than the standard G550 counterpart. And taking a look here, you'll see dual springs and struts accompanying each wheel with remote reservoirs tucked under these massive carbon fiber fenders. This particular car was originally finished in Tannerite Gray Metallic over a black Alcantara interior. Monza has since had it wrapped in China Blue, also a factory Mercedes paint option, although that wasn't available to spec on this generation of the G-Class, as well as reupholstering the interior in red diamond-stitched Alcantara. Approximately 300 units of the 4x4 squared were imported to the United States, and another thing to note is that this is called the G550 4x4 squared in North America, whereas it is the G500 4x4 squared in the rest of the world, although it is the same drivetrain. On US models, it was a requirement for this rear aluminum bumper for crash standards, as well as ambers due to the size of this vehicle. Coming back around to the front, you'll also see this awesome carbon fiber light bar with the ambers as well, and on the US models, the LED lights were actually disabled, although if you know the right people, you can easily have that reversed and get them working again. Last thing to note too is that when the 4x4 squared debuted, you would have been looking at a starting price from Mercedes at about $225,000. Now let's go check out the inside of this wagon, and one of my favorite things personally that I think a lot of people can agree on is the locks on these cars. Look at that. It was just like a Brinks truck, and then opening up this door, same thing. Now going ahead and hopping in the driver's seat, one nice thing is that you do have these side steps, which this is one of the only cars where I find those to be actually useful and less of just a decoration. And jumping back in, just listen to that door and your locks. First impressions upon hopping in, you'll see Alcantara on just about everything in this car, including the seats, which these are reupholstered. However, the door panels and the seats did come in Alcantara on these 4x4 squareds from the factory. And we will go ahead and open up that sunroof too. No glass, just an open top like this. Now another interesting point about these cars is the cup holders. The only real one you have in the front here is this, which was the basketball net that it appears the renter broke off, but this would be right here, and that was your only real cup holder in the front seat. You do have these two in the glove box, but you're not going to want to use those while driving. Not quite a Cullinan level ride quality, so you're probably going to be spilling drinks all over yourself if you do use those. However, they are nice if you're stationary. And then in the back here, you've got these two, which I do find myself using more than the net in the front, just because they're more stable. Now to the left of the driver's seat here, you'll see your standard window controls, seat controls, and your door handle and locks down there. Now taking a look at this beautiful carbon fiber console, first thing I note here is the awesome parking brake. I love a traditional parking brake like that. And then coming down here, you've got your controls for the screen up there. and your air conditioning, suspension setting for sport or comfort. And my favorite right here is the gear selector. I love a traditional gear selector like this, not the staff that you'll find on a lot of new cars, including all the new Mercedes. Up on the wheel here, you just have your turn signals and your windshield wipers, but down here you have your traditional gear selector and a parking brake. And moving up a little bit more here, we'll see the heated and cooled seats there, your phone controls, and then in the middle here, which some of you might be familiar with on the G-Wagons, are your locking differentials. You've got 3 of them, which are standard in all the G classes, and you're only going to want to use those in substantial off-road terrain because it increases the traction by forcing both tires on an axle to turn when you activate one of these 3 options. Now let's go hop out and check out the back here. One thing to note is that it is a little bit more difficult to get into the back seat than it is the front or even the back seat of a non-4x4 wagon because you have this giant fender here and not too much room to hop in the back. So let's go jump up here so I can show you. You know, not the most leg room, not like the Maybach in the last video, but it's doable. You can fit adults back here, 3, more comfortable with 2, but it's still comfortable in the back here. And I do have the front moved back quite a bit, so if you have a shorter driver, there's plenty of room back here. The only thing to note is that you don't have too much room getting in and out, so a little more difficult than a regular wagon, but certainly still doable. All right, now that we've looked at the car a little bit, let's do the fun part. Let's go for a drive. Bring that 4-liter V8 to life, and we'll get rolling. Now I like to go ahead and keep the car in sport just because it's a little bit more responsive, and then also throw the suspension in sport too, tightens it up a little bit, and then you experience a little bit less body roll. And this thing is a beast. I mean, it weighs over 3 tons, so you are going to get some body roll, but it's not the worst. We've got that recirculating ball steering. A little bit vague, but I mean, it's to be expected on a car of this size. Wow, that was a little close for that squirrel. Not the car to get ran over by. At least it'll be over quick. Now you might call me crazy that I would for sure daily a 4x4 squared, whether it's this generation being the 550 or the newer G63 4x4 squared, but I don't know, there's just something about the road presence and just the history of the G-Wagon altogether that I absolutely love. And the driving characteristics, how unique it is. I mean, the regular wagon's unique enough on its own, but the 4x4 squared is just a whole nother experience. There's a certain level of finesse you gotta apply when you're driving these, and you can probably see too the dead zone in the wheel. Beautiful day out. One nice thing about this too is there's no lane assist, so it doesn't yell at you if you're just following the natural line of the road and happen to go over the line in doing so, versus the newer ones that'll jerk you back in the lane. Not a big fan of that. For you guys too, we will do a little parking test just to show you that you can easily fit a 4x4 squared into any regular parking spot. Yes, it's big. Yes, you're going to be just about line to line, but that is not to say that you can't fit this in a regular size parking spot like any other car. All right, let's hop out. Is it big? Yeah, it's big, but it fits just like any other car. So there's no reason you can't fit this in one spot. Don't need to double park. Don't need to be all worried about it. Parking like any other car. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our video. Again, thank you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I want to give another big shout out to Monza for making this possible. If you're in Southern California looking to rent any luxury or exotic car, hit them up. They'll take care of you. See you guys in the next video.